Hey everybody, Sam here. Before we get into the episode, I just wanted to let you know that I was having some technical difficulties with this episode, and if you can believe it, the file for this episode got corrupted twice. So, it's a small miracle that is even getting published. Unfortunately, some of Faith's audio cuts in and out in places, but I had a great time talking to her and thought you might want to enjoy listening to her as well. Thank you for your understanding. This podcast may contain adult language and themes. Listener discretion is advised. Um, so I'll figure out an intro later if I even want to do an intro. Like the last episode I did, we just
Oh
started
yeah, listen to
talking.
that one. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
really good. I really liked that one. That was
yeah.
like, yeah, I felt very seen in that one.
I'm so glad. Was that episode was blacker than the Black in Japan
Yeah,
episode, which
yeah,
was not
yeah.
didn't
Uh,
plan that. I forgot we were recording. I was just
I think
I was just going
you
off.
just had a lot.
Yeah, there's been too like Twitter is too much. Twitter is too
Yeah,
much.
I've seen
Yeah,
I've seen some things. Yeah.
too many things.
Luckily, I'm not popular enough to get like all the hate, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, a very wise woman, who used to be on Twitter, who used to be a
Mhm.
member of G Twitter.
Uh,
And you know how wise she is because she's now not on Twitter at all.
I see.
She
Yeah, very
she
smart.
told me, yeah. I asked her like, how does it feel to be popular on Twitter, and she was like,
Mhm.
Sam, you don't want to be popular on Twitter. And I was like, what do you mean? And
Yeah.
now I understand, and
Yeah,
I'll
now
give
you
anybody the same
understand.
advice. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like you want the fame, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't want, do I want all the hate though? Do I want all the
I
random,
don't.
like right now, I have mostly peace of mind. Yeah, I see like random crap online that like
Mm-hmm.
displeases me, but like it's not usually geared towards me, right? Like,
Right.
right,
Right.
specifically.
Right.
So I can kind of avoid it. I'm under the radar a little bit. But yeah, nah, it must suck. Yeah.
I don't even want the fame. I don't care about fame. I don't want to become a famous person. That's terrifying. But I just wanted those little likes. I wanted my little
Mhm.
notification thing to pop off. Like,
Ah, yeah,
ooh,
they're
look at all
nice.
those notifications.
They do feel
Ooh.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do
And
feel
now I'm
nice.
like,
Yeah.
no notifications. Oh no.
Yeah.
Somebody's adding me. I can feel it. Yeah. All right. Let's start because
Okay.
I don't want to take up too much of your
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw some questions at you,
Okay.
and we'll just go for
Mhm.
a little while. Yeah.
Alright.
All right. Oh, first off, is accidental kiss your first or last name?
So actually, my name is Faith. But my podcast is called Accidental Kiss.
Okay. So who did you accidentally kiss?
Okay. Actually I came up with the name because in a lot of dramas, especially Asian dramas, there's
Mm-hmm.
always a scene, especially in the older ones. Nowadays they don't do it so much actually. They kind of let the trope go a little bit, but like back
Mm-hmm.
when I first started watching dramas back in like 2008, like this was the norm. Like
Wow.
all the dramas, all the romance dramas especially would have at least one scene where the two main characters, like the two love interests, they would like accidentally fall on each other and then like somehow magically end up with their lips like for example the woman would fall and the guy would catch her with his lips
Mm-hmm.
somehow and they just ended up kissing like that was just like so common in like every drama back in like I'd say like the early 2000s to like early 2010s. So yeah, that's what I got the name from. That was just a
With
common
their
romance.
lips.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. Always the lips. Always the
I saw a
lips.
guy deadlifting at the gym today with his lips, and I was like, what possibly could this man be doing? And now I get it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So, Accidental Kiss is a podcast. And so like, what do you do on Accidental Kiss?
So on Accidental Kiss, I talk about dramas and the representation in them.
Right on.
So For example, disabled representation, how women are represented, how men are represented, like how they are seen and shown through the show. Yeah, just pretty much any representation that I find both negative and positive, I try to talk about on the show.
Beautiful, beautiful. That sounds very interesting. So if somebody were interested in Asian dramas and um, what's it called? Ooh, I'm blanking on that word. Intersectional analysis.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That I
uh,
try my best to do that.
right. Where would people be able to find your podcast?
So actually, my podcast is on any major podcasting apps. So like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. YouTube as well. I don't update that one as much. I need to update my newest one actually now
Mm.
for that one. But my newest episode. But yeah, pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find my podcast.
Right, right, great, great, great. And I think I checked, and you've been at it for like 2 years, so you're my podcast
Yes.
senpai. So,
Yeah,
uh,
but you've been rolling them out way faster than me because the thing is,
oh really?
I actually started my podcast with a partner. I had someone who was doing it with me. Unfortunately, they got too busy and they've had to step down as my host, my co-host.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we used to talk about everything. Like when I said representation, I meant everything. We would like tear every little thing apart, or if it was good, we'd give it, its due, and so we would talk about almost every major character, and so that took up a lot of time, and so editing those episodes was just so much like it took so much time, and so now I've kind of dialed it back a bit where I try to just talk about the major characters, like the really major characters, like just the main ones, or just like kind of main themes that I see throughout the show. So, for example, like maybe, strong women, or like talk about, okay, there's actually some LGBTQ plus representation in here. So let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. It does get very in depth, and like the last episode of yours that I listened to, I'm gonna blank on the show, but it was a Korean drama in
Ah,
which
yeah.
the main character was a fangirl.
Yes,
I
yes,
don't know the
yes. Their
Korean
private
term for
life.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Mhm.
And I think the love interest. Was he the young man that was raised in the U.S.?
So yes, yes. So in the
Okay, okay, okay.
drama, he was a Korean adoptee. So
Right, right, right.
he had been adopted by American parents and grew up most of his life in the US. And also actually the actor um himself also for a short time actually grew like he lived in Japan when he was younger as well.
Oh,
So
interesting.
he did actually have some experience living abroad and like growing up in a different environment. So not the exact same, but a similar kind of
Hmm.
experience. So, yes, he was a Korean adoptee.
All right. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it
like
was very neat.
you guys go into a lot of depth. You're doing your homework. I appreciate
Yes,
that. I try to
we
run a
try.
tight ship over
Well,
here too, but still a few leaks here and there. But,
mhm,
yeah. So you are neither white nor a man. Why
no,
did you start a
no, I'm
podcast?
not. That's a good question. So actually, I got inspired to start my podcast because of another podcast that I used to well, I still listen to a lot. So do you know the podcast, the Bechtel Cast?
Well, I know about the Bechdel test.
Yes, yes. So, well, I recommend this podcast honestly to anyone. I am a total, I guess you would say, simp on the internet
Hmm.
for this podcast. I love it so much. It's by these two comedians. Their names are uh, Caitlin and Jamie, and they're American, and they talk about different movies and the representation in them. So they use the the Bechdel test. They use the Bechdel test. It's kind of just like a starting off point to talk about more like broader issues in the show. So the
Hmm.
Bechdel test part is actually not really that in depth. It's really like they're just like, oh, does it pass? Yes, no. But like they really don't just focus on that. They talk about a lot of different things, and I really admired that show because I had never heard anything like it before, where they like really go into depth in like movies, like really famous movies, and talk about the representation of women, especially. But now they've, they even talk about like different, like for example, people like me, Black women, or like, other marginalized groups. And it was just
Mhm.
really inspiring. So I wanted to do the same thing, but I decided to turn it to Asian dramas.
Mhm. And you kind of grew out of your title as well. So you're growing as you go, which is great. Yeah. And it is a great show. Oh, sorry. Like one more what was the name of that the podcast you just mentioned one more time?
Oh, sorry. It was called the Bechtel Cast.
The
Bechtel
Bechtel
Cast.
Cast. Okay. All
Yes,
right. The
yes. Highly
Bechtel
recommend.
Cast. All right. Well,
Mhm.
there we go. Yeah. Two great podcasts to listen to. Who does the editing for your podcast?
Oh God, me. So when you notice the mistakes, it's me. It's me. That's why it takes so long.
I
It's
don't
all me.
I've learned that regular people don't hear the mistakes. We hear
Yeah.
the mistakes
Yes.
because I'm
I hear
editing
everything.
this by myself too, and like I'll
Yeah.
hear my own mistakes,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
but I'll be listening to NPR and I'll be like, oh, they cut the music off a little too early, or they started somebody's mic, somebody was a
Yeah.
little too close to the
Yeah.
mic
Yeah.
there.
That's the thing what happens when you start editing podcasts, you notice every little thing all of a sudden
Right,
about
right,
every
right.
mistake that another podcast makes too.
Even
Like you can hear it. You're like,
professional,
yeah.
big budget podcasts, you'll be
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
what?
even some of them, yeah, they do, they do. I've noticed that more
Don't
and
you
more, and
have
I'm like,
money?
"Wow." It's like yeah, exactly, they have, like, a whole team, and they still make mistakes, so, like, it does make me feel a little bit better. It's like, "Okay, well, I'm literally just doing this, on Audacity for free, so like, by myself, so it's fine." But, like I said, I took a lot of long breaks in between editing because I had literally my longest episode, it, like, literally took 3 parts, and we recorded 9 hours of audio, and so
Oh, wow.
it took forever to
Wow.
try and edit that, and even then, I still didn't edit it down that much, to be honest. So it's
Mm,
yeah, it was hard. That was a struggle. Like, the episode I think is really good because we actually had, a guest on who, um, also has a podcast that I recommend. So her name is well, their name is Ayumi, and they have a podcast called. Okay, the title's a little bit long, but it's like
let's go
Sparkle
for
Side
it.
Chats with Magical Girl Ayu. So like they talk
Sparkle
about like
Girl Cats with Magical
uh,
Girl IU.
Sparkle Side Chats with
Oh shit.
Magical
Oh, oh.
Girl Ayu.
Like say that 3 times fast. Okay,
Yes,
very
yes,
nice.
yes, yes. Very long. It's a very long title, but it's a really
Literally,
good show.
Tokyo Tea Party podcast won't fit in Twitter's
Yeah, yeah,
name box, so I had
yeah,
to
yeah,
shorten
yeah,
it down. But yeah, all right. I
yeah,
ambitious.
yeah, yeah.
We definitely rock with that. We rock with it. Okay, very nice. Everybody, don't forget this podcast. All right, like I want you
Yeah.
to listen to everybody's podcast, but finish this one first. Okay, this one
Okay.
is the most important. Okay. Anyway, so let's jump into the J drama stuff or the Asian
Okay.
drama stuff. Let's jump into
Yay.
the Asian drama stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. Best drama kiss.
Oh, wow. You really came with the questions. Wow, I was not prepared. Okay. All
It's
right.
going downhill from here.
Best drama. Actually, I would say the drama that you heard the episode on, Her Private Life, has the best Asian drama
Wow,
kissing
yeah,
I've
yeah,
ever seen.
yeah. They really went
Yes,
at it,
they did.
apparently.
They really did. Which if you go back, like if you started watching Asian dramas back when I did, like back in if you go
Hmm.
back to 2008, like most dramas then, it's like there's a kind of trope that a lot of Asian drama fans know of where like the main couple will kiss, but their kiss is usually just this like they touch lips. Like it's literally like
Hmm.
this like fish kiss of like just like okay, we touch lips now, and they just like freeze frame, and
Right.
then that's the end of the episode. And so there was a lot of kisses like that. So like Asian drama kisses kind of got a bad rap of like just being so like lifeless. But
Hmm.
now I think they're like making up for it because I've seen especially a lot of K dramas, like they really go kissing now. They're going to town
Hmm.
now. It's like I'm like, whoa, whoa, what's going on here?
That's what we like to see.
Yeah,
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Have you ever watched the Korean drama Iris?
I haven't
Oh,
actually. I
okay.
haven't seen that one.
Okay. It's kind of
When did that
old.
come
Like,
out?
all my references are going to be pretty dated because I haven't watched
Mhm.
anything recently. But I remember, if I remember correctly, like, the basic setup is it's a spy show, and the subordinate is this really handsome dude. You would probably know him by name.
That's right, probably.
And he and his superior, a very attractive Korean lady, they're
Of course,
supposed to not be, they're supposed to be colleagues and keep it professional, but
of course,
of course they end
agreed.
up, pawing each other like
Of
teenagers,
course,
and
of course.
and I think more than once I was kind of like, oh my goodness, what is this spy show is very randy. Okay, very interesting. So I don't know, maybe give Iris a shot too
Okay.
if you
Yeah,
got a
yeah.
lot of
Thank
time on
you.
your hands. Yeah,
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 thank
yeah.
you for the recommendation. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have like, a long list of recommendations. My watch list is like just so long. But yeah, I'll still add it anyway. I never stop adding, to be honest. So
Oh, I
it's
might
fine.
I might say the name wrong, but it's Lee Byung Hun.
Yeah, yeah. I've definitely seen him before.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think where I've seen
he
he
was in
was
the
in Mr.
GI Joe
Sunshine.
movie. Oh, okay.
Oh, he's in the Yugioh Abridged movie.
He
Okay.
was in the
Yeah, yeah.
first one. Yeah,
Oh.
I think he stopped production of Iris. Like, they did the first season, and he got pretty big, and then
Mhm.
I think he skipped out on Iris season 2 to do GI Joe.
Oh, he
Unfortunately
was
for him.
I see. Yeah, he was also in Squid Game. Okay.
Oh wow, really?
I kn
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, he was the front man in
I
Squid
gotta
Game.
watch that. I gotta watch. Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta watch that. I gotta
Ah,
watch
I see,
that.
okay,
Required
okay.
viewing. Okay. All right. Next.
Okay.
Y'all need people out there listening. Y'all gonna need to hit the pause button and get your notepads out because there's gonna be a lot of recommendations in this episode. But next. All right. So we got best drama kiss. What was your first drama? Your first Asian
Oh,
drama?
okay. So, actually, my first Asian drama was Absolute Boyfriend, Zettai Karashi. Um,
Absolute boyfriend.
yes, so it was like a
Not maybe
robot
kind of.
boyfriend, like
Wait,
a
what?
cyborg.
Wait, what?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what that
Yes.
was about.
So it was like he was like built to be the perfect boyfriend, and like yeah, a woman ends up getting him as her boyfriend. And to be honest, I don't even remember the full plot anymore because it's been so I literally watched it in 2008, so I really don't remember that well. But I remember the yeah, the boyfriend was like a robot, but she does learn to love him as if he was a real person. So yeah.
Well, there's love out there for everybody, I
Yeah.
guess. If you're willing to
Actually,
build it.
there's been a Korean remake as well, and there's another Korean drama that I watched more recently, that I got recommended and I watched, called "Are You Human Too?" I think it's literally like a question. That's the title.
Hmm.
And it's also a similar premise where like the main guy is a robot, like a cyborg, like not human, but
Yeah.
falls in like the main woman falls in love with it. Like the leading woman falls in love with him.
Yeah. So, to my human brothers out there around the world, we need to do better, guys,
Yeah, you're gonna get
because
showed up.
we're losing to these vibrators on legs, guys. You got to do better. Okay. Okay. All right. So, number one complaint
Mhm.
about Asian dramas today.
Today.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, wow, wow, you really are getting questions. Okay. Okay. Um, can I start actually with the complaint I had in the past and then
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
circle over to the present?
We love
Um,
segues.
Yes, I want to segue because I feel like it's important to kind of mention this, especially on this podcast, I think. So actually, I was really into Asian dramas when I was in college. Like I would pretty much every week I was watching a new one. Like I was very, especially Japanese dramas. I watched a lot of them. And
Hmm.
I was really interested in them because they were very different from Western kind of shows that I'd seen before. And, it opened me up to a new world and I really, really enjoyed it. But like one thing that I really didn't like about the dramas was that there would be like this very like when people who looked like me were in these shows, there
Uh-huh.
was
Oh, I know where you're going.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, well, you can imagine, but
Mm-hmm.
the representation was very lackluster. I remember when I was like back in the day when I really liked dramas, I would talk about these complaints. Like I would talk about these complaints to my friends, and I would like look online to see if people had anything to say about them. And almost all the time, people would just be like, "Oh well, they're Asian dramas. What do you expect? They don't know any better. They don't know anything. Just get over it. Whatever." Blah blah blah
Mm-hmm.
And so what I kind of like now, um, and don't get me wrong, those people still exist even now. Even now, even over what? Oh God, how long has it been? When was 2008? It's been over a decade.
Yeah, yeah.
Over a decade. Like there's still people who say these things. Like
Mm-hmm.
even like what now? What? Oh God, like almost 15 years later. There's people
Mm-hmm.
who still say these things, but I see more people like me in the community. So like if I go on Twitter or go online, a lot more people who look like us are on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really refreshing to see all these different people, who are in the fandom who also understand the kind of um I guess worries and like I guess anxieties I had. And still have sometimes, but like especially back then had. So that's really nice. I will give that good positive thing right there.
Okay, nice,
Nowadays,
nice.
what don't I? Ah, I'm sorry. The question was what I
Number
my
one
complaint.
complaint.
My number one complaint. Okay, all right. So now I would say my number one complaint actually is more. I don't know. I guess it's a little more superficial. I would say when it
Them
comes
kisses ain't hot
to
enough, baby. Listen.
no,
We need hotter
no,
kisses out there, baby. I'm
no.
sorry.
I would say like when it comes to sometimes with K dramas, especially, um, they'll be really great up until like episode 12, and then all of a sudden, like it just completely goes off the rails. Like just like
Uh-huh.
completely the
Yes.
story changes. It's not every story, like it depends. But there'll be some dramas they start off real strong, and then episode 12 it just starts to either drag or like they completely go into left field, and you're like, "What
Is
is
there
this?
something
What's happening?"
significant about episode 12? Because, like, in
Okay,
Japanese
yes,
dramas, like, the
yes,
first season will be maybe 10 episodes, and if the show is popular enough, they'll bring it back for another series, another season,
yeah,
whatever they like to
yeah.
call
Another
it.
season. But yeah, so I would say, yeah, for K dramas, usually by episode 12, that's when the couple has finally like told each other their true
Ah,
feelings, they've gotten together, and then after that, everything goes off the rails. But it's not every show. Like they've done better. They're doing better. I think more and more shows are consistently good throughout now, but there's still some I'll watch and I'll be like, oh yeah, it's great. Oh, good. I'm really into it. And then after episode 12 is done, it's just like, oh no, 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 no,
right.
no. Well, you were doing so good.
Yeah,
Let's get
yeah. Like, I mean, Beauty and the Beast ends with them getting together, and most of these types is, the story's over. What are you doing? Time to go
yeah,
home,
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So number one praise for dramas today.
Ah, number one praise. Wow. Dramas today. Like there's so much because honestly, like I feel like I have a somewhat unique perspective because due to not really feeling some of the representation in the dramas after like I graduated college, I kind of took a break from watching dramas for a while. Like I watched occasionally the occasional J drama, but I didn't watch dramas like as intently for like quite a while. Like I would say like
Mm-hmm.
a good what 6 or 7 years. I just didn't really like watch them intently, and then I came back. in 2020 because of the pandemic and everything. And I just like decided, oh, I'm gonna start watching dramas again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have kind of, I feel like a unique perspective where I remember what dramas were like before, 2014. And now I
Right.
remember what they are. And now I see what they're like after that. And yeah, it's just so like there's so many things that I, have praise for them, honestly. Like they've changed so much. Like I feel like the stories really have changed a lot. Like they really are talking about a lot more complex things.
I think the
Like
same. Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of them are really going deep into stuff. Like I watched a drama pretty recently. It was talking about like the different it's called Turn to Me Mukai-kun. It's actually one of the ones I recommended on my top list of my latest episode on my podcast. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to check that out.
Finish this
And
one first.
yeah, yes, listen to this one first. And it's about a guy, typical Japanese guy. He's, salary man in his 30s, and he, doesn't really understand women, because we don't teach men to understand women, and
Mm-hmm.
so he, he has all of these different experiences with different women, and he doesn't understand like what they're saying or like what they mean by what they're saying. And there's a woman who kind of explains like, okay, well, how does she say it, what does she look like, and he kind of like explains that, and then she explains to him like, oh, well, what she's thinking, and this like, what's that, and he really does listen to her, and like he starts to become a better guy overall and a better partner to, well, like he becomes like a person who's more willing to listen to women. And that's something I could have never imagined watching back in 2008, like
Mm-hmm. Gentlemen, once again, it's your brother Sam stepping in to have a word with you. Watch that show and take notes, okay? Because
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
robot
yeah.
boyfriends, the walking vibrators are, we got competition, gentlemen. Okay, so we got to do better. Thank you. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I would say like just the material in general has just been elevated.
Mm,
Also more representation than before. We get more LGBTQ plus representation now.
definitely.
Still not where I would like, to be honest, for the
Right.
mainstream stuff,
Not a
but
constant
it's
punching bag
better.
anymore.
Yes, yes,
Not a
yes,
constant
yes,
tag
yes,
to a
exactly,
joke or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like PK is not the punchline anymore.
Right. So that is pretty awesome. That's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like even sometimes you'll see a non Asian person
Yeah. Yeah. No,
be
you will.
represented a little
Like,
better.
oh my god, in Vivant. Vivant, was it Vivant? Sorry, I keep calling it Vivant because it has a T on it, but I think it's supposed to be a French name, so it's Vivant,
Is
I
it?
guess.
Okay. All right.
I think I think
Is
I
that
think that's what
good?
it's.
Is that good? Because like I saw that just yeah, like I
Yeah,
don't know, something
yeah.
about it rubbed me the wrong way, but
So,
it's
okay,
good.
I have very mixed feelings because I like it overall. I think it's a good show. I think if you're into like action, kind of like what, like kind of spy, like, espionage kind of shows, I think you'll like it. But there is this kind of like glaring elephant in the room when it comes to like representation of like Middle Eastern people and
Right.
Central Asian people that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit of like, oh, they're terrorists, that kind of like stereotyping. I don't like that. It reminds me
Right.
of like an American spy movie, back in the day where they would be like, go
Not
America,
even back in the
kind of,
day. Not even back in the day.
I mean, you're right. You're right. Who am I kidding? Even now. But it's just, yeah, it just kind of. But the thing is, back in the day, though, we would have never questioned it, right? It would have just been like,
Hmm.
oh, well, that's just how it is. Um, uh, which I kind of got that vibes a little bit. But I will say, they do pleasantly surprise me in some places. So, and there is a black man who, not a main character, but he does have a pretty big role in the show,
Mm.
actually, which I was
Mm.
surprised. So, and I've seen him. He's actually been in another show talked about in the past called Black Schools,
Mm.
and he was also in there. And so I was pleasantly surprised to see him, still getting roles. So, if anything, watch it just to support him.
Okay, how about this? So, let's say somebody has never watched an Asian drama at all. Like, what would you recommend to someone watching an Asian drama for the first time?
Okay, wow. This one is so hard,
Let's
actually,
narrow it down
because
to Japan. That might make it a
oh,
little
Japan.
easier.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is I mean, it's still hard though, because I know what I want to recommend, but for people nowadays, especially Gen Z, I feel like it might be a little problematic just because the source material was a bit problematic. I mean,
Hmm.
honestly, I think even when it came out, it was, but like, especially now. But it's the classic. Haneri Dango, Boys Over Flowers, whatever you want to call it. It's the classic. It's
Right.
like,
It's the
you
OG.
know, it's the OG. It's like it gives you a kind of taste. You get a crash course in what Asian dramas are like, especially
Hmm.
Japanese dramas. You get a crash course from watching it. It's a classic. Everyone knows it. There's been so many remakes of it done in different Asian countries. And
Hmm.
so I think if you have that as a base, you're pretty good. Now, I will say there are some problematic things about it, especially when it comes to our people, honestly, actually.
Hmm.
there's, there's
She
a
means
couple of scenes that
podcasters, by the way, guys. Our
sure.
people.
There's a couple there's a couple of scenes where yeah, we don't look the best.
Right.
But even so, I still really like it.
Hmm.
Which I don't know, is that bad? I don't know. I still really like the show.
It's I mean, like, with the developments of Kanye West, I don't know, man. Like, you gotta um we have complicated relationships with our artists and art now,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. If I had to stop watching everything that was problematic to black people or
Oh yeah,
anyone, oh
basically.
god. Oh, when I watch, I don't know. Like,
Right. You'd have to throw the TV out the window. Um
yeah.
Okay. So what are you watching now?
Okay. So right now, I am watching two Japanese dramas.
Mm-hmm.
One is an old drama,
Mm.
really old, like from the 90s.
Mm.
They're like super old.
Right.
So it's called Long Vacation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a classic. Like it's apparently like just so popular. So it's what it's. I don't know if this is the one that made him really famous, but Kim Taku,
Ah, yeah, Kimura Takuya. Yes.
Kimura Taku, yeah, he. I don't know if this put him into fame, but this definitely helped him, be even more famous. So he's in this
Anybody
show.
that doesn't know who Kimura Takuya is, he's basically the most beautiful man in the world,
Yeah.
and he's I've checked, and like he's so beautiful. If you like go to images.google.com, search for Kimura Takuya. Okay, get a gander at the most beautiful man in the world. Okay, and then go back to the search bar, type in ugly Kimura Takuya. He is more beautiful ugly. I don't. How do you
How do you do it?
explain that? I invite
But this
you
is him at
to check.
yeah. This is him in his prime. He is like
Mm-hmm.
really young in this
Mm-hmm.
one. And he is just so like breathtakingly gorgeous. But also like just so cute, like in his
Mm-hmm.
mannerisms and everything in the show. It's just really adorable. And also it's just really nice to watch. Like I like watching it because it really like gives you a sense of like what shows used to be because
Mm.
like they will start a song and then just like stop like randomly and they're still talking but they just randomly stop the music because I think of copyright or something, I don't know, but they just like stop the music randomly halfway through and you're like what where'd the music go, and it's just like these like, but the thing is it kind of reminds me of like watching a lot of Asian dramas back in the day because like some of them were just not as polished as they are
Right.
now. Like now you look at a K drama, it's like literally like a Hollywood movie. Like every K drama looks, cinematography is amazing and like
Mm-hmm.
everyone has this like white like cast like screen
Mm-hmm.
over them or something, like it's just really really good.
Mm-hmm.
But like back in the day it was rough. Like
Mm-hmm.
some of the shows like they were like they looked all
You
like
could see the budget.
blurry, a little blurry. Yeah, no, you really could see the budget. You really could see the budget. Like if you want a
Mm-mm-mm.
show that, yeah, you're like, oh yeah, this budget was like, some like lit balls
A couple
and
of
like,
rocks.
maybe a couple of rocks or something. Go back and watch some like older Asian dramas. And this is a really
Right.
popular one too, but it's like obviously back in the day, like everything was a bit less of quality, but even
Mm-hmm.
compared to American shows from the day though, you can look and see and like, whoa, it was rough.
Right on, right on. Okay. All right. So next, what upcoming Asian dramas are you interested in? What are you looking forward to in the upcoming
Oh,
season?
sorry. I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. The other one I'm currently watching, it's called Brush Up Life, I believe
Brush
that's the
Up
title.
Life. What's the
And
Japanese
and
title? Is that the
it's
Japanese
on Net
title?
yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay.
that's the Japanese
Okay.
Brush Up Life. That's
Wonderful.
the Japanese title.
Okay.
And, it's on Netflix, if anyone wants to
Mm-hmm.
see it. It came out last year, and it's really interesting. I'm only on episode 3, but, like, it's about a woman, so she's, like, in her 30s. It's like, I'm sorry, I just have so much I wanna say. Like, there's like it's, like, pretty much the most, like, natural sounding show. Like, my husband, he's Japanese, he watched it and he was like, "Wow, this sounds like an everyday conversation." Like, they're literally just, like, talking normally
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
for the first half of the show, like, just a normal conversation. So it's, like, this woman and she has, like, 2 other friends, like, she's been friends with a long time, and, she's going through her life as, she's working at, like, a like, a city hall or something like that, like,
Mm-hmm.
board office. She's working somewhere like that, like some kind of like bureaucratic place like that.
Right.
And, her life is kind of lackluster and
Mm-hmm.
she ends up actually so this happens in the first episode. She ends up getting hit by a car and dying. Like she literally dies in the first episode.
Oh wow.
And she goes to, like, I guess what the equivalent of heaven would be, but not really, because it's, like, kind of this in-between space, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, well, now it's ti" like, and they're so like, it's really funny because 'cause they're, like, really matter of fact about it. Like, the guy is, like, literally in a suit, and he's just, like, at a desk, and he's like, "Okay, it's time for you to be reborn now." And she's like, "Oh, well, what am I gonna be reborn as?" And, like, I don't remember exactly what they said. Pretty much it was gonna be something like what was it? No, like an anteater or something. I don't know, like some like animal or something. And she was like, "What? What?" And it's like, "Oh, but then there's this other option. You could redo your life." And she was like, "Oh, I'll take that." And so she's reborn, but she
Mm-hmm.
still has her current consciousness. So she still can remember
Oh,
everything she did
interesting.
in her previous life. And so she's reborn and she's just like go through all the major stages in her life again. So she's born again, then she's a kid again, then
Mm-hmm.
she's like a teenager again, and then she's like,
Ugh.
young
Ugh.
adult again. And so
Can we
but she
skip
has
that
the
part?
knowledge yeah, but she has the knowledge that she has, like, as an adult, and so, like, she can change, like, be like, "Okay, well, actually, I
Mm-hmm.
wanna do this job now." Blah, blah, blah. And so I thought that was just really interesting 'cause, like,
Right.
I'm sure most of us have always been like, I'm sure a lot of us have thought, like, "Oh, if I could just restart my life, just go back here again," right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it it's very interesting. I recommend it. I haven't finished it, but it's really good so far. It's
Okay.
quite humorous in a very Japanese way where it's like, they talk about what seems like mundane things, but they say it in a really funny kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
or they do it in a very comedic way somehow.
All right. Yeah, that does sound. I mean, well, it is. So it's like a slice of life,
Yeah.
realistic
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
at a woman's life in Japan. So I'm sure Twitter will hate it. But yeah, go ahead and watch it anyway if you're not one of those types of people. What are you looking forward to that's coming up?
Like drama
Yeah, 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 yeah.
dramas. Okay. Um, hmm. So there's I think it's called I Love You.
Mm-hmm.
It's already out actually now. I think there's like 5 episodes out now or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's literally called I Love You. Um,
Oh, I
hold
think
on.
I've seen that. Like, is that stylized so that the I is like
Yeah,
EYE?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, like an eye, like your eye. Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. I kinda wanna see that. Like, I've heard some good things. I haven't watched it yet. I wanna watch it. I'm probably gonna watch it next after I finish these shows.
What's the general premise of that? Because like I saw that and it was just
I
like we're losing
Yeah.
ground to the vibrator boyfriends again. You know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So the show itself, honestly, I haven't looked that much up about it because like I just mostly looked at the aesthetics and was like, "Oh, this looks interesting." But I'm looking at the synopsis now on my drama list and it's saying after an accident, Motomiya Yuri can hear other people's inner voices when she looks into their eyes. Due to these telepathic abilities, Yuri hears people's true feelings that she does not want to know, and she often gets hurt in secret. She becomes afraid of knowing other people's true feelings and then becomes afraid of showing her true feelings to others as well. She does not get close to people if not necessary. And then, of course, she's going to meet someone. Oh, a Korean student. Okay, wow. Okay, we got some
Hmm.
Korean representation in here. All right, yeah, definitely got to watch.
Right. Okay. So she gives up on falling in love.
But until she meets this younger Korean who I'm sure will show her love, what
Hmm.
love really means or something.
Yeah, love is kimchi and Korean seaweed is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is a delight. If
Oh, yeah.
you're not in Asia and you're listening to this, I want you to go like after listening to my podcast and then Faith's podcast and then the other 10 people we've mentioned so far,
Yeah.
please go to the closest Asian grocery store, get yourself some Korean seaweed. Thank me later. Okay. Last question. What the fuck is wrong with Twitter?
That was so abrupt. Like he went from 0 to 100. Like, I was like, what's wrong with Twitter? Like in relation Asian dramas or just in
Just
general?
in general.
General. Okay.
Can you fix
All
it?
right.
Do
I
you
definitely
have
I don't.
Twitter money? Do you have
No, I do
McDonald's
not.
money?
I know. What? Mm. um,
Some people will get
um,
it.
yeah, I know. I know. I know what you mean. So I I don't know how to fix it honestly, but what's wrong with Twitter? I think yeah, just a lot of people being really miserable and like trying to make other people feel miserable, like a lot of people talking about stuff they don't really know about and then
Ooh,
getting upset when you
ooh.
don't like agree with what they don't know about, like especially when it comes to Japan and like this image they have of Japan. But honestly, it's the same when it comes to Asian drama watching community.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have this like ideal because they watch the dramas, right? And the drama is made to be as appealing as possible, especially K dramas. They are literally made designed to like make you fall in love with characters, especially the main characters, the main
Mm-hmm.
guys,
Mm-hmm.
and love the story. And it's catered to women because a lot of Korean dramas, especially, are written by women, and so a lot of
Oh,
them
very
write from
interesting.
women points of view. Yeah, so that's why it's very appealing to a lot of women. And so they look and they're like, oh, I want to go to Korea and find my oppa, and like like they're very like into these dramas, and they think they're gonna go to Korea and find their like oppa, and it's like gonna be like the most amazing. And I get it, I get the feeling because to be honest, I'm gonna pull myself out there. When I first got into Japan, I was really into anime, and I thought of Japan as this like more ideal place,
Mm-hmm.
until I lived here, right? And I lived here for a long time, and then
Yeah.
I realized, oh, it's just a normal place, you know.
Right.
They've got really great media. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They've got really, really good media, but it's just a normal place, right? And so I think a lot
Japan
of those
is a
people,
real place.
it's just a real place. Yeah, it's just a real place. So I think, but I will say, I haven't seen as much fervor for a country specifically as I've seen for Japan. Like
Ooh,
I've seen, of
that's
course,
another
there are
episode.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
That's
seen
another
like,
episode. Yeah.
people who are very into Korean dramas
Right.
and like
And K-pop.
K-pop and they're into their specific they like, right? Or the
Right.
specific actors they like. And if you say like, "Oh, they're not the best actor or the best, whatever," then they'll get upset and they'll like, try
It
to,
gets ugly. Don't
like yeah, it gets
if
ugly.
you
It gets ugly.
if you see
Yeah.
a K-pop fan walking on the street late at night, like walk cross the street, walk on the other side,
Yeah,
be
yeah,
dangerous.
pretty much, pretty much, yeah, yeah. So they'll get really obsessive when it comes to like specific groups or actors or people that they like. But when it comes to the country itself, I mean, I don't know. I think they also try to defend, but I've never seen as much like
Hmm.
I don't know vitriol when like as what I see with Japan. Like with Japan, I've
Yeah.
never seen so much like, oh, you're ruining our country that we don't live in. Like it's very, it's very, it's very different. It's a very specific
That
rude.
absolutely is another episode that I think you just brought to life. You've planted the seed. Cause oh man, if anything is gonna get me canceled, it's gonna be doing that episode. But I
Oh
think,
God.
oh, I'm gonna get canceled. I'm gonna get deported.
Uh,
It's
well,
ooh, the tea is gonna be too hot. But yeah. All right.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Any last words,
Oh,
Faith? Yo, go ahead. Finish that
oh,
thought.
oh no! I just wanted to add one more thing with the Twitter thing. Also, like I do read into other fellow Asian drama fans, especially K drama fans, be like, oh well, like like they don't need to put diversity in K dramas, like because
Mm-hmm.
they don't have different people there or something, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. Like I don't really care. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like it's just very interesting to me. Like because they'll say that because I've heard people say the exact same thing about Japan, and then I
Mm-hmm.
look at myself and I'm like, I guess I'm not here. I guess I
Yeah,
guess I
right,
haven't
right,
been living
right.
here.
Yeah, like I wish they would do a show on like in Japan what they call Haafu, like just mixed
Yeah,
race people, mixed
yeah,
ethnicity
yeah,
people that live here, and
yeah,
the outside world is somewhat blind to this and it's really
yeah,
weird.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
but I will say this, even but I can understand why though in some ways because even in Japanese media, I remember, I told you I did the episode about rules where like in that episode, person Ayumi who came on, they are Hafu. They are
Mhm.
half
Mhm.
Japanese, half American. And we did that episode because they wanted to talk specifically about a show that had a character who was Hafu. The actual actor was Hafu and the character in the show was also Hafu, which
Mhm.
is surprisingly very hard to find. Like it's very hard to
Is
find
it
both.
though? Is it
Very,
really?
but it's very hard.
Have you
It is.
turned
It
the
really
Japanese
is
TV on?
actually. Like, it's really hard to find a drama that is specifically about a
Right,
character who is
right,
identified
right.
as Hafu, right? They're
Uh-huh.
there. No, there's a lot of Hafu on Japanese TV. There are so many, so many, like
Uh-huh.
so many. But to find a character in a show where they
Right,
acknowledge this person is Hafu, this person
right.
is half, and the actor is also half is hard.
Mhm.
Hard. It was a
Right.
struggle. I had to ask around. I had to
Sure.
find. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. If you're not in Japan and you ever come over to Japan, just turn the TV on around
Yeah.
7 o'clock.
Oh
Look
yeah,
at the
yeah,
variety shows. Like it
yeah.
might not
No.
pop out to you immediately, but look at some of their
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
Maiku.
Yeah.
Not a traditional
Like
Japanese name.
yeah.
Just gonna put that out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I've seen people on there. My skin complexion, right?
Right,
Like,
right, right, right,
like I've
right,
seen him on there. I'm like, oh, hold on.
right. There's no famous Hafu tennis players in this
Yeah,
country, nor
yeah,
basketball players. No,
yeah.
no, no. We
Yo,
don't got
no,
none of that.
no,
Nah.
no,
No diversity. No,
yeah, at
just
all.
cancel
Stop,
diversity,
stop,
everybody.
Sam, stop pushing your Western values on. Sorry, I can't say it with the straight
Oh,
face.
Jesus. I think we just created, we recreated Twitter in like 5 seconds. Like, this is, like, when we die, the guy sitting at the desk is not going to offer us any options. We're just going to have to be
Yeah.
anteaters.
Like, I don't know if it's actually an anteater. Please don't quote me, but it might be something else. I don't remember.
All right. Any last words?
Um, yeah, I mean, this is really fun. I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
it
it.
was
Thanks
fun. It
for
was
having
fun.
me on. I didn't know what to expect, but yeah, you had some really good questions.
Right.
For that.
So, overly serious questions and poor attempts at comedy. And
Yeah,
no budget.
I like
You
it.
can't see our budget. This will never be a video podcast, people.
Oh
It's
gosh.
audio
Yeah, no, I
only.
do not want to be on video. At least,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun. I'll try to get you back on again, and maybe we can do like a season
Yeah.
roundup type of thing,
Oh,
cross promotion or
definitely.
whatnot.
Oh
Yeah,
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 let's do it.
yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah. Or you can watch a show and we can talk about it on my podcast.
Sure. We gotta find something that isn't mega long, because I don't got time
Okay,
like that.
J-drama
But
then. J-drama.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna watch Kamen Rider, whatever the newest Kamen Rider is.
Oh, yeah, we should. Actually, we
Actually,
should.
like Kamen Rider Black Sun. I don't know if you're following Nika Video on.
I'm not.
Okay, you
Not.
should
I'm not,
follow him
but yeah.
because he did this
Okay.
amazing hour-long deep dive into the Amazon produced Kamen Rider Black
Oh.
Sun, which
Okay.
actually it had like a
Oh, wow.
black father and a Haafu's son, and
Wow. Oh my god,
as
wow.
like major
Yeah, I need to watch this.
characters. It
Oh,
dealt with a lot of
wow.
stuff.
Oh,
It dealt with a
oh,
lot of stuff you
wow.
usually don't see on TV in Japan.
Oh, wow. I've been following the
Yeah.
wrong stuff.
Like Kamen
Wow.
Rider Black Sun is actually deep as fuck. It takes
Oh,
about an
okay.
episode or two to really understand the direction it's going, but if you got the time, I would definitely recommend it.
Oh, yeah. I'll make the time for that. Oh my god, that sounds
Yeah.
really good.
Right.
So, on Amazon.
Netflix, Amazon. It's Amazon.
On
Yeah, it's
Netflix.
Amazon. It's Amazon.
Amazon. Okay.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider Black Sun?
Kamen Rider Black Sun. Right.
Okay, okay. Is that a pun or is that
Well, the original show, it's a remake of
Okay, okay.
Kamen Rider Black, which aired in like the late 80s, early
Uh,
90s. It
uh,
doesn't star a black person, unfortunately,
oh,
but
so yeah. I was gonna say back in the 80s, man. Oh wow.
yeah.
That'd be amazing.
He had a little bit of swagger, but it wasn't to that degree. Anyway. Yeah, I've taken so much of your time. Thank you for being so gracious
Yeah.
and so charming and so
Well, thank
wonderful.
you.
It's been a
Well,
delight
thank
just to
you
hear
as
you
well.
laugh. So, okay.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
All right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. You too.
Thank you for listening to the Tokyo Tea Party podcast. A very special thanks to today's special guest, Faith. Check out her show, Accidental Kiss, wherever fine podcasts can be found. Vibrant tropical salsa and rhythm of Havana, courtesy of Toon Tank and Pineapple Music. For info on today's guest, please check the show notes. Did you enjoy today's episode? Give this episode a like, share it with your friends, or leave a comment. If you find this episode especially valuable, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Tokyo Tea Party Podcast, all one word. I've been your host, Samuel Darbouze. Be easy, y'all. Mina, genki de ne? Peace!